Welcome back, everybody. We're standing here in a different place in this world, and this is a good start to our episode because this episode is going to be completely different from pretty much everything we've done before. I've been thinking recently, I want to change things up just a little bit, and maybe just one episode every now and then, try something a little bit different, and also, of course, do something which we haven't done. That's the most important thing, just exploring, finding out things you don't know about the world. And that is the theme, I guess, of today's episode. And it's not necessarily about the world, but it's more about the videos that we make over here, of course. If you didn't realize, they got a lot more to them than just making a video. And maybe we'll go into a few weirder things like that. But it's going to be more of a very different one in terms of the building, in terms of the talking and all that sort of stuff. So today, for a heads up, before I get any further, we're going to be using a few things. For instance, we're going to be using a mod called the Replaymod. So if you wonder how we get this super cool time-lapsey looking things, it's the Replaymod. We also, by the way, are starting in a different area, which if you guys are more recent to the channel, new to the channel, of course, you will not know this area necessarily. But this over here is the snowy mountain area called Fruzendel. I'm butchering the name. Just know it's a cool name for a place that's pretty cold. That's about it. So yeah, we're starting over here today just to make things a little bit different. And what we're going to do today is we're going to go through the process, I guess, of getting some big projects done in this world. And not only that, also an extension of that, some of the larger things that we've done in the world, some of the more crazy statistics we've had, a whole bunch of stuff you just don't normally see because, of course, we don't only focus a lot on the building stuff in Minecraft. We really kind of avoid a lot of the survival stuff as well in terms of what we do. Yet we build everything in survival. We do literally everything in survival. And I think we tend to forget that. And I've been mentioning it recently because I think it will be a great change for us, at least, to go ahead and explore the world with I guess, a different view on what we do in the world and how much it takes just to get the world to where it is. So right about now, I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead, go to some of these super cool Replaymod I guess, time lapses, and we're going to go through a few different things in them, and also the statistics that we have in the world, which I think are going to be really neat, and maybe a bit more eye-opening as well, which will be pretty cool. Okay, so getting into a bit more of the format of this video, of course, what we were doing is we're going to be collecting some resources, getting into probably the biggest build we've done in a very long time, and also, of course, having a chat. So there's actually quite a bit more to this video than what others do, kind of in a weird, ironic way, as you guys will see very soon. So basically what we're doing here is we need a ridiculous amount of dark oak. I use this stuff all the time, of course. We're just going to get started with a little bit of a tree chopping time lapse. It's something, there's just something about chopping down trees that looks really good and is really satisfying. And for some reason, dark oak doesn't really quite hit it as well as the others. But you know what? It does the trick. We'll go from here. We'll get some other stuff. We'll just let this play through, and you can see just the amount of stuff that really goes into just getting the resources, at least for us to do what we want to do. That's more of the point. But while we're doing that, I thought what would be kind of cool while we go through some of the stuff here and just chat about what we do in terms of the making of stuff, really. We also will go through the statistics, as I say, and I've got some pretty cool ones, which I think a lot of people don't quite understand how crazy some things are, or maybe just the amount of time spent doing a lot of these things. Now, right now, this world, if you ever want to check this out, I actually don't have the complete accurate date, but the last stream that we had, I think the world was on 11 months and 1 week or 2 weeks. It was somewhere around that since we created this world. And that's a long time. It's a ridiculously long time. And if you ever want to find out when the world was created, you actually can go onto our Twitch page and just type in !world. And it's actually a very easy thing to figure out, because you just go that, bam, and you can all of a sudden just see a time that the world's been created. So in that time that we've created that world, when we created it, of course, 11 months ago, there are some really cool little statistics here. We've got, for instance, games quit. We've quit the game 1,200 times. That's a ridiculous number already. Just the amount of times we've logged into the game. That's just in this world, which is pretty neat. The amount of time, and these are just some of the more frequent questions I get asked, of course, in streams most likely. For instance, the amount of time that we've been in the world. That's also a very long time. Now, the thing with the time played is there's a lot of AFKing in here, and the weird thing with the AFKing, of course, is that it doesn't really count as time played. So that doesn't get too accurate, but that is on 66 days. I think it's 66.61. There we go. 66.61. So it's pretty long. Now, another cool little number for people who like numbers, of course, is that we also have just cracked 900,000 views. I think it's 900,001. I'm fairly certain the last time I checked it, when this video is made. So 901 views, 1,000 views on our episode 1 episode of this world, which is absolutely nuts. It's almost 1 million views on a video, which is ridiculous. I never thought that would be the case necessarily with the stuff we've done on our channel, but hey, we've got almost 1 million views, which is pretty darn crazy. Now, while we were going through all this mesa over here, we were discussing what could I do with this mesa, because I'm destroying it. I'm destroying everything just because taking out layer by layer, it just becomes a bit of a pain, and leaving some of the gross mustard color of the terracotta. I don't think I'm ever going to use it, to be honest, but I just thought, you know, take it out. We'll have it for some blocks in the future, and of course, it also means it's a little bit more efficient for us, because I end up trying to avoid those layers, and it ends up taking more time. So I thought, you know what the heck, let's just go through it. I'm not actually 100% sure if that's more efficient, but it's better for me, definitely. And now, while we talk about this, of course, here's a neat little thing to think about, because, of course, I do play the game a lot, and some of the things that people say, don't you find it really boring to just go ahead and always get all your resources, get a lot of resources? It takes a lot of time. Isn't that boring? And to be honest, I don't find this sort of stuff boring. I find this mostly very enjoyable when we go through just mining quite aimlessly, to be completely honest. Mining quite aimlessly throughout all these blocks, and I guess generally we've got a stream going or something like that. We can chat, but I find that somewhat quite enjoyable. I'm quite well known for my mining sessions, just going mining, looking for diamonds to create a diamond beacon, which this one here, just mark my words, in a few weeks time that thing will be blue and looking real good. But things like that, just mining and enjoying the game, enjoying doing things maybe a little bit more efficiently. So as you go through, I guess what has made things a lot better is just figuring out little neat ways of doing things. So for instance, as you can see me just digging through the mesa over here, I always dig in rows of 2 wide and 2 tall. And there's a reason behind that. These are just some of the little things, I guess, that I do. And I do this with mining in general, is 2 high, 2 wide means I catch every ghost block by walking through it, because of course the game is not fixed yet. So ghost blocks are a thing, and I don't like to leave ghost blocks lying around as much as possible. So I end up walking through, and if there is one, I catch it and I can sort it out as we go. So that's just another little thing which might be of interest to someone, I guess. Things like that make your life a lot easier in the game, and can make resource gathering quite enjoyable, of course. And by the way, the amount of resources we're about to get for this probably will be able to cover majority of the build that we do in the very near future in this video, and probably just a little bit more. The hardened clay may be a little bit different. I think we would have that for a while, but the majority of the other stuff is actually significantly lower than what we expect. So this is just a few hours of gathering stuff for a fairly simple build. So that just gives some perspective, of course, the amount of clearing we do and the amount of gathering we do, and not to mention the planning that we do every episode. I just thought that could be an interesting thing, because this, for instance, I think took us 2 hours and 20 minutes just for the mesa. I think it was about an hour or 45 minutes on the dark oak trees. We're going to go through, there's quite a bit to it. I mean, realistically, by the end of this episode, I've put in quite a lot more hours than what it even might seem. So that's just another thing to add on. And I think it's quite a cool thing, because you don't realize just how much little stuff goes into stuff, which I think it's really, really neat. So back to some weird statistics as well, because I've already dropped a few crazy cool numbers on you guys. The YouTube numbers, these ones here, I mean, if you have to even say our channel's doubled, which is even crazier since we started this series. Now, some other cool things, which I think were worth noting. Distance by pig is still at 0 centimeters. That's an interesting one. The distance by elytra, however, is on 10,944 kilometers, which is a ridiculously large amount of flying, and I can't ever put my elytra down. I just love my elytra, so that's another thing there. Then we can go through, and I've got some really cool ones, and I've looked through this. I look through every now and then. and I thought it would be really cool to just point out some of the interesting, weird ones. I've only eaten 5 cake slices. I'm pretty sure that was to celebrate 20,000 subscribers on YouTube, and that was it. I haven't touched cake again. Of course, I've killed 0 players. Surprise, surprise, it's a single-player world. What is the... I think there was one other one here, which was very, very interesting, and... I mean, of course, just chests open 63,000 times, opened a chest, and 5,000 times interacting with the crafting table are absolutely nuts. So that's some interesting stuff. The rest of it's kind of whatever, just general sorts of things, nothing too crazy. Now, the one that I thought was pretty awesome, and I think it's pretty cool, is when we go over to the mob section over here, having a look at the amount of mobs I've killed. I've killed 55 bats, and I'm proud of that. The bats are something that, oh man, if you've seen me in a stream, I'm always trying to hit the bats, and that's exactly what I do. I've got 55 of them to my name, which I think is quite an impressive number, because they are a pain in the butt to hit. And I don't use an arrow, a bow and arrow either. Now, just a side note, I really like that little transition over there with the replay mod. I just thought it was really cool the way it worked out, and all just came together. Now, by the way, with this build, what we are doing is we're going to be extending the palace outward, and it might seem like a fairly simple thing, but there's a lot of intricate block placing because we're going at an angle. We've got the previous design, which we're trying to keep in this design. So there's a lot of just, you'll see me here just thinking, going back, going forward, going back, going forward, trying to work it out, which direction we got to go, angle we got to go. And I'm just making everything easy for myself by laying it out from the bottom and going up. Of course, that's probably the most simple way. And of course, I think we do a pretty good job here. You'll see when we do the other side. I've done it enough times, I guess, to be able to have it in my mind, and it goes so much faster on the other side compared to on this side here. And it just looks really cool and satisfying, I guess, as I say, with the time lapse as well, to see it all done. There's a few, now back to the statistics, a few weird ones here. I'm surprised I've even killed 207 cave spiders and 185 blazes. I feel like I never really go out fighting things. But an interesting one is Endermen. I have officially killed 100,000. Oops, that word probably will get me in so much trouble on YouTube. I know. They that's another thing. When you make videos, there's every little thing you got to tiptoe around stuff, because else you never know. You never know with this thing. But Endermen, 100,826 Endermen. That's the largest one that we've got on here, which is absolutely nuts. 343 Endermite, kind of solid. I thought I would have more than that, but I end up leaving a lot of them to despawn. So that could be the reason for that, but I would have expected a lot more than them. The rest of them aren't really too exciting. Ghasts, I guess, was quite interesting at 225 ghasts, which I'm amazed, but I do kind of find a bit of fun in turning around and hitting fireballs back at ghasts. Just because, no other reason. Yeah, I just enjoy it sometimes, get a little bit better at it. So now we're just going to move over to the other side, and this is, as I say, where we get a lot faster, get a lot better at it, and of course, we start to see this place really look a lot nicer, and I'll show you guys when we're done with this, just how cool it looks with everything filled up. Now, before we go any further, because of course, this is nearing the end, of course, of our statistics, which I thought was a neat little thing to talk about. We've got our items, and these ones aren't really that exciting, but they are telling. So the times depleted, shears, without a doubt. The amount of bushes we go through, no surprise there. The diamond shovel is an interesting one, because the reason I go through diamond shovels is to be efficient and have fun with the game and not necessarily keep mending stuff up. I end up just using wasted diamond pickaxes. It's only one diamond, a diamond shovel, sorry, one diamond. I'll go and clear out as much dirt as possible with an efficiency 4 diamond shovel, and I'll just enchant a few of them. Very, very simple, and then just go until they break, go until they break, go until they break, and then you end up going through without having to go mend stuff up, which I thought was pretty cool. And surprisingly also 55 times crafted. Now, the cool statistic here is how many times is my most used item? And that is the pickaxe. At 794,000 times we have swung our pickaxe. The shovel is far behind with 228,000, and the diamond axe at 232. So that diamond axe number is actually quite an impressive number, because trees don't go quite as fast as everything else, and I use a ridiculous amount of wood. So surprise, surprise, we've got 200,000 just on that. Now, the other one before we finish off is the amount of times mined. My most mined block in this game, no surprise, is stone. And also the most, what is it, picked up? 485,000, 539,000 mined, and 216 times placed. That is a crazy number. But those are just, I guess, some of the cool statistics, the highlights of the statistics. Now that we've got them done, I think, how about we go and have a look at this place completely finished off with what we were doing. And we may as well, for the authenticity of this video, just go and do what the way I would normally do it, going through our ridiculously disgusting looking Nether Hub, which will, I mean, there's many big plans for this, but those ghasts that I've been fighting, they've got other plans. So we are at a continuous tussle between the two of them. So how about we go in here now, as I say, going through the stuff that we do all the time. I think it would be cool to just do an episode like this now, once in a blue moon, change things up a bit, because I find I get myself into such a building rut. I just keep building and building and building. And I think it's nice to take our mind off and hopefully show the amount of work that goes into it that doesn't necessarily show, I guess. I mean, I know it's a pretty large place, but I think it's a cool thing to do every now and then. So coming up here, let's look through the market area. We've got this cool archway. I can't get over that where we go over the bridge. I really love that little piece. So here we go. This is what we knew. We've seen this before, but what we haven't seen, ignore the unfinished stuff, is that there, with the width of this thing finally showing. That's a very bold, very monstrously big structure. And that's exactly what we're hoping for. From the bottom here, as you walk up, you just see from that side all the way to that side, it just fills your view with all of this this building just in front of you. It looks very good, I think. And then of course, as you come to here, it just cuts off your view on either side, and you just still have the enormity of the front there. Looks very, very cool. And also, I recently have added in this little piece down the front here. So we are slowly merging this in with the rest of the area, and that's just the way I build, I guess. It takes time. I leave a lot of loose ends, but I tie them together in the end. And of course, from the top there, let's just quickly jump down and sleep. And whoa. There, we made it. We didn't actually. I was very close there, I think, to potentially facing the wrong direction while landing. But just overall, what I was hoping to do was show you guys the the derpage that happens as well, I guess. Authentic, of course. But yeah, just the kind of stuff that we go through all the time, just to make the videos and stuff. Because, for instance, as I say, 2 hours plus another hour plus whatever long it took, and all that sort of stuff all adds up, and it's very, very cool that it all gets condensed down to such a narrow point, and quite a cool little coincidence there. Almost as good as my coincidence about starting an episode with a bang, just last episode. But look at that, looking real good. Just picture this getting filled in at the bottom here, and we'll have all of these buildings coming up this side, just hiding the little edge of these as well. I think that's going to look absolutely wonderful. Now, for today, guys, we won't put the roofs on. We'll do that in the future. We've definitely had a very big episode today. But for today, we'll go ahead and call that an episode. So I hope you guys have enjoyed something a little bit different. Of course, I know it won't be everyone's cup of tea, but you know, I thought let's change things up a little bit, do things a little bit differently. Tell me what you thought, of course, and we'll be going back to some building, solid building in the next episode. So thank you very, very much for joining me here today, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.